In a small town lived a man named Ian. He worked as a mechanic in a tiny garage. His hands were always dirty with oil, his clothes old and torn, but his heart was full of dreams. Life was not easy for him. He didn't earn much, but he worked hard every single day. He lived alone in a small rented room and saved whatever he could for his son, who studied in a school far away. Ian had one thing he loved more than anything, an old wristwatch. It didn't even work anymore, but he wore it every day. It was a gift from his father, who had passed away many years ago. His father had said, "Son, this watch will remind you that time never stops. No matter what happens, keep moving forward." Those words stayed in Ian's heart for years. But one night, everything changed. His small garage caught fire. The flames spread so fast that by the time people came to help, everything was gone. His tools, his savings, his dreams, all turned to ashes. He sat outside, staring at the burnt remains. The watch on his wrist had stopped ticking. He had only 200 rupees left in his pocket. No tools, no work, and no hope. He looked at the old watch and whispered to himself, "Maybe time has left me too." The next morning, Ian walked to a small pawn shop. He placed the watch on the counter and asked, "Can you buy this?" The shopkeeper looked at it and laughed softly. "It's old and broken. I can give you only 100 rupees. Ian stared at the watch for a long time. It was the last thing he had from his father, full of memories, but he needed money to start again. He took a deep breath and said, "Okay, give me 100. I'll make new time for myself." He sold the watch, took the money, and walked out with a heavy heart. With that small amount, he bought a few used tools from a market and started fixing bicycles on the roadside. People who knew him laughed. From cars to bicycles? Poor Ian. Time really changed for you. But Ian smiled and said, "Yes, time changes for everyone. That's life." He worked from morning till night, in the hot sun, in the rain, and even when he was tired and hungry. Slowly, people began to notice his honesty and hard work. Customers started coming back. One man told him, "You work so sincerely, Ian. You'll go far." Those simple words gave him new strength. Years passed, and Ian saved enough money to open a garage again. This time, it was bigger and better. He named it the Time Garage. He even trained young boys who had no jobs or hope. He told them, "Life can break you, but if you keep working, time will rebuild you." One evening, an old man came to his garage with a broken watch. He handed it to Ian and asked, "Can you fix this?" Ian looked at the watch and froze. He knew that watch. The same crack on glass, the same faded leather strap. It was his father's watch, the one he had sold years ago. His hands began to shake. He asked the old man, "Where did you find this?" The old man smiled kindly and said, "I bought it from a shop long ago. I always felt this watch had a story, but now I think belongs to you." Ian repaired it carefully, and when the second hand started moving again, tears filled his eyes. "You came back," he whispered. That night, Ian sat outside his garage, the watch ticking softly on his wrist once again. He looked at the stars and said, "You were right, Papa. Time never leaves us. We just have to keep moving." Above the door of his garage, he painted a line, "Don't wait for time to change. Be the one who changes it." Years later, his son Yusuf returned home as a successful engineer. He saw his father still wearing that same old watch, smiled and said, "Dad, you still wear that old thing?" Ian smiled back and said, "It's not old, son. It reminds me that time always comes back to those who never give up. Time never leaves you. It just waits for you to rise again."